bad people.
All right, let me see if I can do this here. Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Music Maniacs with me, YR, Arknolia, and we're going to try to get YR and Keith on the call here. Let's see what we got here. Give it a couple of minutes. The computer's been slow as of late there. Let me see if I can get the guys on here. Now, as I did in the video yesterday at the meat cooler there, we are adding... actually, hold on a second there, Bob. I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm going to try to get YR on the call here. Like I said, the computer has been slow as hell. And like I said, also, I don't like it one bit. I should probably take this in to get an adjustment or an update or something like that pretty soon there, because it's driving me freaking bonkers. And it just, I'm trying to get everything caught up here. Alright there, so I got your message a long while ago about the Movie Madness program that I guess we're going to be bringing back tomorrow evening there. Right, so I got a couple of ideas out there for a film series. We could talk about that.
Oh, okay, but what we need to do is pick something we've all seen, not something just one of us has seen.
I know. Well, we're not.
So,
Well, we're not. Well, when we talk about movie series, we're talking multiple. Whether it's
right.
Fast and Furious, Star Wars, Carrie, and The Lost Boys as well. There.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the Fast and Furious.
Well, I did. I only see clips here and there, but but you gotta give it its due. He has helped made Michelle Rodriguez, Vin Diesel, and everybody else. Ludacris, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Jason Statham. Everybody's been involved in the Fast and Furious project. Even John Cena.
Yeah.
I mean, even. And because we don't know the one that star that is no longer with us, the late Paul Walker, who died in a car wreck in 2013. I'm going to try and get, YR. There he is. Okay. Like I said, the computer has been slow as hell. I guess hopefully he'll get Keith on the call there just as well if he's available.
On the 80's, I can't find my list I had, but I did find a list of popular songs by year. So I'm going to do that instead.
Okay, that's interesting there. And of course, we're talking a lot of popular songs that are still played on Top 40 radio. Not really Top 40 radio, but retro radio, soft rock radio.
Yeah, because they quit playing 70s and 60s.
I know, yeah. They've been playing, in fact, they've been playing a lot of more today's music mixed in with some of the old music from the 80s and 90s when you look at it there. Which is not a good thing, because there were a lot of good songs in the 70s that people today are missing out on.
And for that matter, the 60s.
Yeah, exactly. True there. I mean, a lot of interesting stuff there.
Pretty much all the Beatles content was in the 60s.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Except for a few things.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get YR onto the call here. Let me see if I could get possibly Jacob RP there. If he's available there.
Is he going to stay on topic?
I hope so. We'll remind him about that, definitely, for sure. So, okay, we're going to call RP and see what's going on, and like we said, stay on topic, dude. Okay. All right, so.
Well, shoot.
Well, what?
What are these guys doing? Where are they?
I don't know. I'm surprised, YR isn't able. I guess he'll probably call in later on, as he usually does. Probably should add Keith to the call just as well there, because I know he's supposed to read some of the music news that's going on out there. I sent Wire a couple of clips here. Now, fortunately, Keith wasn't absent this past week, so we're going to try and get everything, organized here. We'll try to get. But like I said, so many issues with my computer here. It's like taking its sweet time, trying to get somebody pulled up, let alone try to get things going there. I'm hoping possibly when we're done with the show, an update will pop on so I could get that whole thing taken care of there. And RP and YR still unavailable. All right.
Okay, do we start with whatever news you did, or?
Well, let me see. I did send a couple of clips to what we call it. It's clips to YR. I guess it was for Keith to read there. Now, let me pull this up here. Give me a couple of minutes, everybody here. Blah, 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 blah. Give me a few minutes here. Blah, 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 blah. All right. It's going to be a while.
Maybe they didn't do the daylight savings thing.
Maybe. Who knows? I sure as heck did, you know. I know. That's been screwing up a lot of things, man. Okay.
Yeah. And most phones and computers do it automatically, so.
Absolutely there, you know. Precisely. Though, except for the situation with my car there, I had to do it manually. Even with my wristwatch there. Should be coming up here. There we go. Now, I'm going to get to do some news here that I recently discovered not too long ago. Now, we all know Motley Crue's on tour right now with Def Leppard. They're doing their, I guess it's called, whatever kind of tour it's called there. But they're touring with John 5 from Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, you know, his old band, you know, Pepperland there, who also collaborated. He also collaborated with Rob Halford in a project known as 2. And he's been around all over the place there. Now, he also has a solo career of his own. He released a couple albums. Now, Mick Mars, who, as you know, is still a member of Motley Crue, but not touring with the group because of his spinal condition there. He apparently was allegedly unhappy with the pre-recorded tracks on Motley Crue's stadium tour. Mick Mars stepped away from the touring guitarist duties of Motley Crue last year, citing his ongoing issues with Arknolia symphonis. I think it's how it's pronounced. Remember, I'm not that good at pronouncing long medical terms, unfortunately, there.
Most of us aren't.
Yeah. It's a genetic condition that he struggled with for decades. You know, it's where his spine fuses together, causing lots of pain. In fact, it is said that he cannot move his neck, and his neck is like in a hunch in a lot of ways there. Now, John 5, who, as I mentioned, played with Manson, Zombie, and all those guys there, fits the band like a glove. But apparently, Mars's issues went deeper than just his physical discomfort. In a new interview with Ultimate Guitar magazine, drum legend Carmine Appice, who played with Rod Stewart, Ozzy Osbourne, Vanilla Fudge, the band Blue Murder, his old band King Cobra, is good friends with Mars. He also discussed Mars's departure from the crew. According to him, Mars was having a bad time on that stadium tour due to the large part that everything was pre-recorded. He stated, "I'll tell you what, I've been talking to Mick and he told me that when he was on the stadium tour, he was not happy. Basically, everything was on tape. It was all planned out and immediately a lot of crap. Mick is a pretty good player, so to now let him loose and play the way he wants to play." Come on there. Things popping up on the phone here. The truth, let me get back here. That was never going to work with him. The truth is that everything has been weird for a while with Motley Crue, and Mick did not like that at all. He didn't like that everything was on tape. Mick told me that people came to see it, they could tell that it was all pre-recorded and everything was on tape. When you play a stadium like that, like all those dates they did back in 2020, 22 there, you hear a lot of things come through the monitors of what it doesn't. And a lot of Vince Neil's vocals, bass, drums, guitars, all that other stuff, it was obviously that it was all on tape. And Mick was pissed off and said, I can play these things. I want to play them. I don't want to make believe, so I am playing them. So I think that's one of the reasons why he said, I'm done. Sure, the disease that he has does not help one bit. But it doesn't make Mike easier, that's for sure. But Mick can play all the licks, and he was allowed to. Now, Appice continued to go on to say that the other members of Motley Crue were all busy trying to be rock stars, and that Mars just wanted to play music. Mars tends to be very quiet in the media, so it's unlikely we'll get a response. Now, this was mentioned a couple times before about pre-recorded tracks, a couple times. There was an incident that YR talked about where there was a drum beat that would start, and Tommy has yet to even pick up the sticks and start playing. So that kind of makes a lot of sense right there. We heard many stories about Paul Stanley of Kiss using backing tracks for his voice, which ain't what they used to be, unfortunately. You may remember the show that Ozzy Osbourne did for that one football game last year. Now, YR says that show was live. Actually, it was half and half. The first track they did, the title cut from Patient Number 9, was kind of sounded pre-recorded, while Crazy Train, which they did afterwards, was all live. Many times bands are not able to reach the depth they're able to when it comes to singing, so they have to do pre-recorded tracks. Oh, by the way, Roger Waters, the founding member of Pink Floyd, he has used pre-recorded vocals just as well as some of his live shows in the past. Now, keep in mind, Roger Waters, I don't know if he's basically he basically did his old version of Dark Side of the Moon. Why? I have no clue. You don't need to do that. That recording is a masterpiece on its own. Let it be. Let it stand on its own as a classic, the ultimate classic album. His version of Thus and Them is far more different than what we heard on the original album. And a lot of times, he did the same thing with his new version of Comfortably Numb. He just sing the see all the times there. That's pretty much how he does it on both his cover versions of those two Pink Floyd songs.
Yeah.
And it's sad in a way, but then again, you got to realize that these guys are in their 60s and 70s. And when you're reached that age, you're not going to be bouncing, screeching all the time like they're used to. The only one that may be an exception, of course, is Rob Halford of Judas Priest.
Right.
He still screams a high pitch, not the same as he did, but he's still able to reach that particular depth in his voice there when he does it. So credit to him. So, what can I say?
Right.
So we'll have to wait to what the rest of Motley has to say about this one here. And most likely, if something does come about from the Motley's mouths, then I guess we could see another drama fest like we're seeing with the band Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. And there's lots of drama going on with that band. That's for sure there.
Yeah.
Okay there. Now, I'm going to try and get YR into the call once again. Give me a couple of minutes here. And I'll let you start, Ark, with our continuation of the 80s list. And you said we're going to be doing just the hit songs from each year?
Pretty much because I lost the other list.
Okay.
But it does mention the artist.
Okay, there.
Okay, 1980, among the top songs is Do That To Me One More Time, Captain Tennille.
Yeah. And rest in peace to Daryl Dragon. He passed away a couple years ago as well.
Call Me Blondie.
Big hit. They still play that at the at the supermarket that I work at through the speakers there. I've heard that many times. And we know the movie that came from, American Gigolo. That's when I guess we first got introduced to Richard Gere.
Okay, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 by Pink Floyd.
Hell yeah. That record was all over radio. And that song got them in a lot of trouble with some school boards because of the line,
Right.
"We don't need no education." Many parents were not allowing that song to be played on their stereo system there, believe it or not.
It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Joel.
Yeah, and another one there talking about the new wave scene there that was emerging at that time. Regardless of what kind of genre it is, it's still rock and roll, kid.
Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Queen.
Yeah, their Elvis tribute there. Not really a tribute to Elvis, but basically, we got to acknowledge Queen. They really pile drived the U.S. charts with that song and another one, Bites the Dust. And that album, The Game, that came out that year, was the first Queen album to feature a synthesizer. Now, in the past, up until then, Queen had not ever used any synthesizers on their albums. Now, the reason they decided to do the synthesizer was for a good reason. They were also, at the same time, while writing songs and recording for the album The Game, they were also recording songs for the Flash Gordon movie that came out that exact same year. And that featured a synthesizer just as well there. So if it's to say that both albums were recorded around the same time. And I've heard the Flash Gordon soundtrack. Very unique when you think about it because it features clips from the movie mixed in with the music. It kind of like hearing the movie on audio, basically.
Coming up, Paul McCartney.
I heard that song played on the loudspeaker as well there. If you ever saw the video for that by chance?
Well, yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yes, we did. Yes, it was kind of a unique video there. Here we had Paul and Linda dressed up in all these different characters. The keyboard player from the Sparks, guy resembling Ian Anderson, Frank Zappa. They did all the characters in that particular video, including the drummer, bassist, horn section there. Pretty unique video when you think about it there. I guess at that time that was not done before, I guess you could say there.
Okay, Little Genie by Elton John.
Great song. I gave a story about that song. Sitting at that beach on my birthday that year and hearing that song played from the radio, and it's just something about the music and the mood of the day, looking out into the water, just fitted perfectly.
All Out of Love, Air Supply.
Good song there when you think about it. Elton John's favorite band.
Magic, Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, we talked about. That's one of the things we want to. When we do movie Maniacs, we're going to talk about that movie just as well. There,
Oh
the movie,
man, yeah.
I know. Yeah, the movie Xanadu, where it came from. I mean, when you think about it, that movie was like. The movie was
horrible.
Absolutely, it had a dim-witted storyline. It was never really. The script was never finished when Olivia signed on to do that movie there. But the
Ride Like the Wind.
Wait a minute. Also, but the soundtrack, boom, over the charts. Went all over the area there. Unbelievable. Magic, her duet with the Electra-like Orchestra, her duet with Cliff Richard, as well as, that song she did with the Tubes called Dancin'. And that song she did with one of the film's co-stars, Gene Kelly. That was included on this soundtrack as well.
Okay. Yeah, Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross.
A Texas native, if I understand there. That's... Yeah. And by the way, credit to Michael McDonald for the Doobie Brothers for being on doing the backup vocals on that song there. You hear it most definitely throughout the chorus there. And also,
he's sort of like Stevie Nicks. If they do backup, you know it.
Absolutely there. And also credit Christopher Cross for his other song, Sailing. That was a humongous hit. That was also a hit on the R&B charts.
Yeah, and Laura's theme.
Yeah, Laura's theme. Yep. Laura's theme. That's from the movie Eyes of Laura Mars, if I'm correct.
I honestly don't know.
Laura's theme. Is that,
I think it was played. I think they did it part of General Hospital from
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
Laura. I think.
Luke and
I
Laura, I
don't know
remember
that.
that. My mom used to watch that soap opera continuously, almost every day. And that Luke, the Luke played by Anthony Geary, he was one of the big top soap stars around that time. In fact, they had Elizabeth Taylor do a guest spot on that show there,
She did
believe
a
it or
little
not.
guest spot. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was all over People magazine. That was creating news there.
Yeah. Next one, neat little song I kind of like. Escape, the Pina Colada song.
Rupert Holmes. And that was
Yeah.
years later. That song would be featured again in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie there. And the story behind it was about a guy who was willing to cheat on his wife's back with somebody else, only to find that someone else was his own wife.
Yeah. The Rose, Bette Midler.
Oh yeah, believe it or not, that song, that movie. Believe it or not, where that song came from, the same title. That may have been about Janis Joplin.
That's the story.
Yeah, exactly. Because the only difference is, obviously, Rose, the whoever character, the name of the singer that Bette Midler played in that movie, she didn't collapse and die on stage. She was found in a room there, dead. But they did
Right.
but they did reveal something about her. Apparently, the singer, I don't know, her name was Rose or something like that. She may have been bisexual, and they have reported
Right.
saying that Janis Joplin herself may have been bisexual as well.
Right.
Wow.
Funky Town by Lips Incorporated.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was a big one there. Whatever, what? We gotta mention whatever happened to these artists like Rupert Holmes and
Right.
Lip Sync. We gotta talk about that sometime soon there.
Yeah. Lost in Love by Air Supply again.
Yep. That was a big hit there. And like I said, did I mention that they were Elton John's band earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I stand corrected. But you know what? They had a lot of hits soon afterwards, after the 80's, years and years and years on down the line there.
Emotional Rescue, The Stones.
Great album from them. I had that. I saw. Now, for
That's
those.
kind of their tribute to disco.
Yeah, kind of like they're in the way there. Well, then again, also, Miss You from a couple of years earlier may have been their take on disco as well there.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole album I saw the album remember that camp that I was in that I mentioned last weekend, last week when we talked about all the new
Right.
wave albums that camp counselor had from Sex Pistols, Ramones, Pretenders. One of the albums I saw, or things I saw, was a poster that came with the Emotional Rescue album of that ultra heat lighting that they had covered. That was the most interesting poster that they had up there. It was like, wow, most unique. And the album was packaged with that poster outside of the album cover there, which is the most unique. Other songs from that record was Where the Boys Go, Down in the Hole, the title cut, She's So Cold, Dance, and also what's that other song called? Let Me Go, which is pretty good there. Pretty good album. Indian Girl was another one of them.
Biggest Part of Me, Ambrosia.
Yep, and we talked about them a lot of times. They were like a prog band that they got commercial with that song, How Much I Feel. They even got more commercial with this song and the follow-up, You're the Only Woman. Then afterwards, they decided to go back to their prog roots, and that album failed miserably, and they soon, I guess, called it quits afterwards.
Kind of a shame because they put out their first 3 albums were awesome.
I know, yeah.
The initial one, Life Beyond L.A.,
Mm-hmm.
and the one in the middle, what somewhere I've never traveled.
Yeah. In fact, after you send me a couple of those links of their song, it is pretty dang good there, I will say there. It's said that this band never really got the credit it deserved, but just those two songs that the, actually three songs I mentioned that really put them in the charts there.
Yeah, because Life Beyond L.A. was a great little song.
Yeah, it is. I remember hearing bits of that, while I was on the work at my previous job a few times there. Well, actually back in Texas there when I was working with the other grocery chain. Well, it's same grocery chain, just a different state and location.
Coward of the County, Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, that was also made to a movie, along with The
Yeah,
Gambler, by the way, there. And of course, like
yeah.
The Gambler, Kenny Rogers started the title role.
And then Kenny Rogers and Kim Carnes did Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer.
And that's when we first heard of Kim Carnes. And I think later on, Kim Carnes had her big hit. I guess it was that year or the year later with Betty Davis' Eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm All Right, Kenny Loggins.
Big song for him for the movie Caddyshack. Massive big song there, all over the place.
Hurt So Bad, Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah. I think, is that a cover tune, by the way, or is it a original?
Oh, yeah. If she did it, it's almost always going to be a cover.
That's true there.
I don't think she's written anything. I don't think.
I don't know. Who knows? She did so many covers many times. Credit to Ronstadt because she was not afraid to take a chance with something there. Whether it's Broadway with the Pirates of Penzance, or whether it's that record she did with Emmylou Harris and Dolly Parton, or that
Right.
the Spanish records that she did a few times there. And also, let's not forget the two records she did with Nelson Riddle and his orchestra.
Yeah. Babe, Sticks.
Big song. That was actually released the year before. I had the album that it came in called Cornerstone.
It's on the 80's chart.
Yeah. It was a big song for them
80s.
there. Yep. In fact, it fits to say that, between Tommy Shaw's rockin' tunes and Dennis DeYoung's ballads, it's kind of hard to... so much musical conflict. It's a mix when you think about it there. Let's not forget James Young, their other member. He had a few good songs like Miss America, Heavy Metal Poisoning from the Kilroy Was Here record.
Yeah. Still Commodores.
Good song from them. One of the most tender ballads that Lionel has ever written.
How Do I Make You? Linda Ronstadt.
Again. Mm-hmm. And yet that's a cover, right?
Right.
Yep. As always.
I don't remember who the original was, but yeah.
Yeah, but
then Fleetwood Mac, Sarah
from the album Tusk. And you know what? We got to give that record Tusk a listen sometime because
it's not a bad song. In fact, the title track I really like, Tusk.
Yeah, I remember hearing that a lot of times on the radio at that time there. Now, I don't know who did the designs and the graphics and artwork for that whole album, but they did a lot of interesting stuff in the sleeves where the vinyl came in, man. Whoever did the artwork, that was who did the designs for the
I don't know.
I don't know, but credit to them for designing something unique. Absolutely unique.
Yeah, and the best version of Tusk is on their live CD
The
DVD,
Dance?
excuse me.
The Dance?
The Dance.
Yeah, I heard that.
They almost, it's the next to the last song on the show, and the whole band from Southern California, USC, comes in at the end and plays.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Yeah, but Neil, and I guess they did the same thing with the original recording of that song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I see that.
It was kind of cool to see them in concert there and see the band come in.
Yeah, I guess whenever they did that song live, they would have whichever marching band from the state that they were playing in come in to do that for them. If I understand.
Yeah. Don't Do Me Like That, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Good song from them, I believe that was a year before there. I remember the album Damn the Torpedoes came out.
I'm reading off a list that's talking about the 80s.
Yeah,
so it charted in the 80s. It may have been released before then. but I'm reading what's charted in the 80s.
Yeah, it's true there. Yeah, a lot of the songs we're mentioning released the year before, but stayed on the charts for more than a year there.
Brass in Pocket, Pretenders.
Yeah, good. Like I said, I was talking about the first Pretenders album being an excellent record there. And
Yeah.
I don't know about, are you appreciative of the Chrissy Hyde of today?
I don't really know much about her today.
Well, back in 2003, when the second Gulf War was about to get in gear under George, basically Bush 43's regency in the White House there, she said something about, I hope those other soldiers kicked the U.S. military's ass. That was a quote I read in a magazine during that year. Now, for Chrissy Hyde to say that about our military was, I don't think so. But
Right.
there was a reason. You remember the Kent State tragedy back in 1970?
Right.
Yeah. Chrissy Hyde was tending Kent State when that whole thing went down. And to
Mm.
see and to be in a young age, around 19 or 20 or whatever age she was at that time, and to see members of the National Guard, a military legion which is supposed to protect you, the American people, turn around and shoot four of your college frat brothers and sisters down to the ground. That's
And a lot of them were just walk passersby. I think
exactly.
a couple of them were just going to class.
I know. It's like they probably didn't know what was going on until they found out the last
Exactly.
minute. Exactly, But to see members of your own military strike your frat brothers and sisters down, and that's going to weigh heavy on your mind. That's going to
Yeah.
mess your head up big time. And I guess I know how she feels about the military today. Like I said, that quote I read was in 2003. But that has that had to really mess her head up there for a long time. Because
Oh,
some things you don't there are some things you don't really let go of. Unfortunately, there.
Anne Murray's version of Daydream Believer, the old Monkees song.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember hearing that one time. She also did, I think she did a cover of a Beatles song called, um, was it Think for Yourself or You Won't See Me? I think it was something from the Rubber
Yeah,
Soul
she
record.
did a lot of covers too.
Mm-hmm.
Not totally, but she did a lot of covers.
I see there.
And then Pete Townshend's Letting My Love Open the Door.
I had that album, Empty Glass, where she came from.
Yeah,
Rough Boys, the lead-off track from that album, that was dedicated to both his kids and the Sex Pistols.
yeah.
Pretty good stuff there. Going to Get You. The following track was played a lot on the rock radio circuit there.
Jesse, Carly Simon.
About this, I guess, about this boy who did her wrong in the past, but yeah, she's willing to take him back, I guess.
Right. And then a little river band that I liked a lot, Cool Change.
Good song about sailing there. Let's not forget the other song called Lonesome Loser from the same record that the other
Right.
song came in there.
Okay, let's see. Is there any other 80 song, 1980 songs? Oh,
Let's
there are, but I'm trying to find ones that I've heard of. Uh, You're the Only Woman, Ambrosia. We mentioned that one a while ago.
Yes, we did.
All Over the World, Electric Light Orchestra
From
from Xanadu.
Xanadu,
Head Games, Foreigner.
yeah. I guess that was the last record as a six-piece. Soon afterwards, yeah, two other guys would either be let go or depart, and Foreigner was just a four-piece hereafter.
And then Jane by Jefferson Starship.
Featuring, that's when we first got to really know Mickey Thomas as our new frontman. Grace Slick was not involved in it at that time there. She departed from the group to get her stuff together. Marty Ballin left the group the same time Slick did because he was tired of all the BS that was going on within band ranks there.
Yeah. Now we move on to 1981. Kim
Carnes, Betty Davis
Betty
Eyes.
Davis Eyes.
Yep, as we mentioned there. I know a lot of comedians are gonna. I know a lot of people are saying, Betty Davis Eyes, Barbara Streisand's Nose, that kind of stuff there.
Right.
Yep.
Endless Love, Diana Ross and Lionel Richie were from the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That was about. That movie got remade not too long ago, but I don't know if they ever used the cover version that Luther Vandross and Mariah Carey did, because that song was big all over the charts there.
Okay.
I think her voice is
Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield. I like that one.
Yeah, that still gets played a lot on the there you go. I think her voice is cutting out a little bit there. Not really cutting out, but it's kind of sound muffly there. Yeah, it was. May have been the microphone. But
Woman, John Lennon.
What again? Woman, John Lennon. Yeah, one of his last big hit songs after his sudden murder in December of the last year there, or the year before. That was a big shock over everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in New York City. The Dakota building was flooded with a whole bunch of people, because not only this was a legendary performer who played with a legendary band who influenced so many people to pick up guitars and write songs, but the fact that he was living in New York City since 1975, they embraced him, because if Paul McCartney would have moved it to your area of Texas near Dallas, heck yeah, you embrace him. Absolutely. You will welcome him in like a brother. Absolutely.
Celebration, Kool and the Gang.
Big song for them. Absolutely there. And they continue to have a lot of hits throughout the 1980s there, when you think about it there.
Okay, theme from The Greatest American Hero, believe it or not, by Joyce Carberry.
Yeah, from the
big show at that time, but nobody ever talks about it anymore.
I know, it's like, and the guy who starred in that role, William Catt, we remember him best as, I guess, Bobby from the Carrie movie from '76.
And he was also the son of the guy that played Paul Drake in the old Perry Mason show.
I see there. Wow, interesting there. Yeah, your voice is starting to cut out a little bit.
That's why when they did.
Go ahead.
That's why they did the new Perry Mason show, that he played Paul Drake Jr.
I see there.
No surprise. Some of the episodes.
No surprise there. No surprise. Yeah. Like father, like son. Needless to say there.
Yeah. And then you had Juice Newton, Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, that was
pretty good little song.
Yeah, she had a lot of hits before, like her cover of "Angel in the Morning." Also that song called "Break It to Me Gently." She was a big around that time there.
Yeah, and there was another one about "Love's Been a Little Bit Hard on Me" or something like that. Pretty good song.
I think so. Yeah, I think I remember that one there.
Yeah. And then another little country song that I liked real well, Eddie Rabbitt, "I Love Her Any Night."
That was an interesting one. Now, I want to ask this question about Eddie Rabbitt.
I like that song.
Yeah. He had other hits before, like "Step by Step," "Someone Might Lose a Heart Tonight." Now, my dad mentioned...
And the one about driving.
Oh, yeah, Driving My Life Away.
Driving My Life Away.
Yep, yeah. I want to look up something here on the phone while we're on the subject of Eddie Rabbitt there, because my dad said something about him having every paternity suit filed against him. I want to see if that was ever true. But
Wouldn't
then again,
surprise me.
Because let me look it up here.
He also did a good cover of "Suspicious Minds." That was
okay.
Something.
There, wait a minute there. I got to do it again there. I was distracted there. And it picked up what I just said there. I was looking up there. Let me try this one more time. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Eddie Rabbit paternity suits. Okay. Let's see what we got here. If it was ever true or not. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see here. It doesn't really say. Let's see here. The only kids he would know of was Timmy Rabbit. That's his other kid there. And apparently,
Right.
Eddie Rabbit died in 1998 from lung cancer. He was age 56. He was diagnosed with the disease in the March of the previous year, and received a radiation treatment and surgery to remove part of one lung. His body was interred at Calvary Cemetery in Nashville in May of 1998. Wow.
Okay, the tide is high. Blondie.
Yep. I guess that's a reggae tune. I guess they took a chance on that became a big hit.
She covered a lot of different things. We'll get to another one here in a minute.
Yeah, we know that
Keep
one.
on Loving You.
REO Speedwagon.
Keep on Loving You. Yeah.
That song.
9 to 5, Dolly Parton.
Wait a minute. Let me look up the story behind Keep on Loving You once more, because I want to know the real story behind that, because a lot of that song lyrics are detailing something like that. Let me up. Keep on Loving You. Okay, we'll talk about it here. It's going to show up there once again. A song by REO Speedwagon. And here's something else. The story behind it is that Kevin Cronin had this tune in his mind all the time. He couldn't sleep because of it. So what he did is he went down there, got on the piano, and decided to play it. There you go. Now, it was a more traditional love ballad, according to Wikipedia, and it developed it into its final arrangement as a power ballad. Now, the lyrics of the song, I kind of question a little bit there, and the reason why is because here, let me read out some of the lyrics here. Let me give it a couple minutes here on Lyric Find here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. There we go. All right.
It's kind of similar. It's kind of similar to the other song they did on that album called "I Heard It From a Friend Who Heard It From a Friend Who Heard It From a Friend."
Take It on the Run.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Kind of similar to that, which is kind of like, you've been doing stuff that I've heard about.
Yep, behind my back there. Okay, I'm trying to find if it was true or not there, about the story behind there. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Here we goes. Okay, this really less rich give details about the story behind this song there, other than Cronin had this song, Kevin Cronin, by the way, had this song in his mind. He was unable to get it out of his system unless he wrote it down.
Which is not abnormal.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a songwriter,
that happens a lot.
Yep, especially if you're a skilled songwriter.
Right. John Lennon, Just Like Starting Over.
Oh, yeah, that was one of his other big hits. I had that album, Double Fantasy, by the way. It featured songs from not only him, but also from his wife, Yoko Ono. She had a lot better songs than what she had on the previous times before there.
You mean the screechy songs?
No, not really screechy.
The screechy songs?
Well, no. Well, these were some screechy songs. She tried to sing normal, I could feel them. In fact, after Lennon's death, she got together with the musicians from the Double Fantasy sessions, and she recorded an album of her own called Season of Glass. And on the cover there was a pair of John Lennon's blood-stained glasses that he was wearing at that time. Right? And, of course, she never married again. She never got involved with anybody else after Lennon's death. I guess John meant that much to her, I guess. She basically never stopped loving him, put it forth there. Then,
Just the two of us, Grover Washington and Bill Withers.
yeah,
Great song.
Great song it is. You know, rest in peace to both those guys there.
Slow Hand, the Pointer Sisters.
Yep. I thought that song was was about Eric Clapton at first because Slow Hand was Clapton's nickname for a long while there. Turns out it was a guy, I want to love her with a slow hand, easy touch. You know, gosh, you know, makes sense now. But I guess some people kind of got confused with the title of the song and Clapton's nickname.
Styx, The Best of Times.
Mm-hmm. And that was taken from an album called Paradise Theater. I guess that was a concept album, I guess, for I understand. I got to look up the story for that there.
Yeah.
In fact,
yeah, it's pretty much concept.
Let me, in fact, while we're on this, go ahead. While we're on the subject of that record, I might as well look it up, see for myself, because I'm always intrigued about things that, okay, Styx, Paradise Theater. Okay. Wait a minute. This is what I hate about this thing here. Because it picks up every damn thing you say. Okay. And it's spelled Styx wrong. For crying out loud. Ba 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 ba. Okay, let me try this again. Paradise Theater. Alright. Give me a count. Okay, here we ready to go. Okay. Alright, there, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It was the band's most commercially successful album, released in 1981, January of that year, and it was also the fourth album considered the album to be certified triple platinum by the RIAA. And,
okay.
Background. A concept album is an official account of Chicago's Paradise Theater from its opening in 1928 to its closing in 1958. Used as a metaphor for America's changing times from the 70s into the 80s, Dennis Young envisioned and developed the entire concept, confirmed this on an episode of In the Studio with Redbeard while the making of this album. DeYoung has said that the theme of the album is one of hope and renewal in the spirit of the American people to understand the problems that confront the world and this country and find solutions themselves to those problems. Don't depend on heroes to do what you must do for yourself. If you hate your job, but you have a dream, then pursue it. Just don't sit there around and complain about it. That's what it's about there. And one critic said that the songs deal with people out of sync with themselves and their environment. Like the song Too Much Time in My Hands is about a guy who is unemployed and has given up, and regards lonely people as a contemporary rewrite of the Beatles' Eleanor Rigby. And the song from that album, Nothing Ever Goes as Planned, is about the inevitability of failure. Interesting.
Isn't Snowblind on that album?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the records that kind of got him in trouble with the Christian right there, because they said there was a backmasking on that song there, and which later led into their next record.
Well, not only that, it's about drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hence the title, Snowblind. The same thing with Black Sabbath's song of the same name. Here's something else. The story that I just told you kind of led into their next record, another concept album, Kilroy Was Here, which we'll get to either this episode or the next one there.
Probably the next one.
Hi there.
Because I got a lot to go in 81.
Yeah, sure there, yeah.
Kiss on My List, Hall & Oates.
Yeah, I heard that yesterday at work on the job there. I guess it goes back to 1980 again. And by the way, that album Voices, where that song came
81.
from, 81 there. They also had their cover version of...
Well, I'm reading the 81 list.
Okay, there. But then again...
You've lost that loving feeling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was on the Voices record as well. As their version, the original version of Every Time You Go Away, which Paul Young would later do a couple years later.
Yeah. And next one I got is Arthur's theme, Best That You Can Do, Criss Cross.
Yep.
Which is from a movie, too.
Yeah, absolutely there. And I remember a award show, I think it may have been the Grammys or the Oscars, which Christopher Cross performed that song with Dudley Moore, the film star, accompanied on piano. And Dudley Moore, credit to him, was a damn
Right.
good piano player.
Dudley Moore was a pretty good actor too.
Exactly, yeah. The only
He
problem
was good
is,
in that movie.
yeah, he was. But the only problem is, he was always picked for all these cheesy comedies, like the one he did with supposedly with Eddie Murphy, Best Defense, cheesy
Right.
bomb of a movie there. And Murphy was
Yep.
billed as a strategic guest star.
Then you had Stop Dragging My Heart Around, Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty.
Yep. That was one of the two collaborations they did for his solo record there. In fact, anybody who ever saw
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac on their tour back in 2019 may remember her doing Free Fallin' as a tribute to Tom Petty, who passed away a couple years earlier. Now, let's not forget Mike Campbell from Tom Petty's Heartbreakers band was one of the featured guest members, along with Split Enz' Neil Finn.
Yep.
Mhm.
Start Me Up, The Stones.
From Tattoo You, another great record from those guys. I had that album. Hang Fire was another good one. Heaven was another great one. Worried About You was a great song. And Waiting on...
I liked a lot of their middle albums, but I really preferred their older blues type albums from the 60s.
Ah,
I really liked those albums.
really? Nice. You got to remember, British bands around that time
Better
were
taste.
were massively into black artists like Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, and Chuck Berry there. It's no secret, man. They embraced black music to the full max.
Then you had interesting little thing that was kind of fun. Stars on 45 medley by Stars on 45.
Yeah, and I guess
They had 3 or 4 of those things.
absolutely.
They had one about there was strictly Beatles songs.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, absolutely there. And what I guess the guy behind that project was the same guy who was also behind the orchestra arrangements for some of the earlier ELO records. I guess the guy's name was Lewis Clark,
Yep.
if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And let's not forget ELO.
Interesting.
Let's not forget ELO had an album around
Right.
1981 called Time, which was, I guess, another concept album. They had Hold On Tight, which was one of the big singles there.
Which was one of their finest songs.
And let me look
One of
on
my favorites anyway.
let me look it up on the Wikipedia again about the concept. One more time there. Electric Light Orchestra Time. Okay. Let's see what we could do to look into the story, what the story's about there. Because I always wondered about that album as well. A concept album about the man from the 1980s who was taken to the year 2095, where he's confronted by the, what's it called there? Dichotomy between technological advancement and the longing for past romance. Okay, there. Let's see if there is anything out there. Blah, blah. Interesting stuff there about that album there. Other good songs like yours truly, 20-something there. Ticket to the Moon, the good song there about when the longing that passes, that storyline suggested. Is this the way my life's supposed to be? And there's a middle called Another Heart Breaks. Pretty interesting album.
The other album they did, the double set
Out of the Blue.
with Mr. Blue Sky.
Out of the Blue.
I don't think that was concept, but it sure seemed concept.
Well, side 3 was kind of like a concept in a way with a bunch of songs. Music for a
Right.
Rainy Day. And the Mr. Blue Sky, the song, was kind of like the closer of that whole suite because, the rain is done, the sun's coming out there, yay, happy, happy, joy, joy, type of deal there.
I think that's among one of my favorite ELO songs is Mr. Blue Sky.
All right. Let's not
I like
forget-
that one.
Mine is another one called Eyes of a Stranger. That came out in 1983, a couple years after Time, and the album was called Secret Messages, and that was based on the concept. You remember the controversy behind the song "Higher on Fire on High from the Face the Music album, wearing with the back introduction.
That was a great song.
It is a good song. Hell yeah. And but there was the story behind it was there was some backwards masking on the beginning of that track, and on when you play it backwards, it's like the music is reversible, but time is not. Turn back, played backwards, along with some eerie Hallelujah choirs in the background. Many people were kind of pointing the finger at ELO as being Satanists because of that there. And I guess when that story leaked out...
It's incredible.
Absolutely. Every band out there was being labeled as evil there by these Christian fundamentalists, including, they did it with Jethro Tull, they did it with ELP, like, come on. Remember, the Satanic Panic was big in the later 1980s there. Everybody was getting reamed left and right from Maiden, Priest, Sabbath, you name it. Even pop music at that time. I mean, they went after Whitney Houston for the song Save It All My Love for You, Infidelity.
Yeah.
You got your family and they need there for you? Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, next song I have on my list is the one I was talking about where Blondie explored another venue, Rapture. This is pretty much a rap song.
Yeah, it is. Yep. And they played...
A lot of it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Debbie Harry, I guess Debbie Harry kind of like brought that out to the real mainstream world. But even though years before, Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang kind of like made it big as well there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you had Foreigner with Urgent.
From the Foreigner 4 album. And this is when we got to see Foreigner as a 4-piece. The other two guys either left or was let go from the band. It was basically Mick Jones, Lou Graham, Dennis Wilson, and Rick Willis. It was basically how it was there, and it remained a quartet for a good number of years there.
Then you had Journey, Who's Crying Now.
From The Escape, the first record to feature Jonathan Cain as their new keyboard player after Greg Rowley decided to leave. That whole album, Escape, went massively big. And we all know the other songs like Open Arms, Stone in Love, and we cannot forget Don't Stop Believin', which will later became a hit again thanks to that final episode of The Sopranos in 2007.
Sopranos, yep.
Yep, 2007 there.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Absolutely. But you know what? It was interesting.
Okay, then we had... Okay. Next one I got is Sheena Easton, Morning Train, 9 to 5.
I remember hearing that. They played that song a couple of times at the loudspeaker at my workplace. Remember that you can't. I know I would appreciate it if the people at my loudspeaker at the radio station that satellite play a lot more diverse music. I understand playing hits from the past, but there are other hits that deserve to be played. I need to say that. But credit to Sheena. She really made her mark for many years with hit after hit. For Your Eyes Only, the James Bond movie of the same name, as well as her starring role in a couple episodes of Miami Vice, playing the second wife of Sonny Crockett.
Yeah. Okay, next one I got is a cover by Don McLean of an old Roy Orbison song, Crying.
Yep, I remember hearing that as well there.
Great song.
And I guess that was his comeback single after a few years ago. I guess, if I understand.
Yeah. Then you had Angel of the Morning, Juice Newton, which we mentioned a while ago.
Yes. All right.
And then the REO Speedwagon song I mentioned a while ago, Take It on the Run.
Yeah, absolutely there, which you couldn't stop hearing on the radio many times. Don't Let It Go was another big song that was played for that whole record. And they got questioned over the album's title, High Infidelity.
Right.
Absolutely there.
Right.
Yeah, but then again, rock and roll is not to be a safe haven.
Okay, then you had another Eddie Rabbitt song, Step by Step. We mentioned that a while ago.
Yep, absolutely there. Yeah.
Then a great Neil Diamond song, Love on the Rocks.
Yeah, from the Jazz Singer, the movie that his only, I guess that was his only starring movie role that came out that year. You know
Yeah.
the song
And then
America.
a fun little song,
Go ahead.
yeah. Then a fun little song by the Oak Ridge Boys, Elvira.
Interesting. I
That's
remember hearing that.
actually a fun little song.
Ah, I
The
know.
little trio band I was in covered that song
Oh, wow.
because we did a little country too.
I see there, yeah. Years later, the Elvira
That
we would
was
know
an
it.
interesting song to do. It's just two, it's a thing.
hmm You know what? Years later on, the
Go
main
ahead.
Elvira that we would now come to know would be the Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
true there. And she's still kicking. The lady who portrays her,
Private Eye. Yeah, forgot her name, but yeah.
Cassandra Peterson.
Private
That's
Eyes, Hall and Oates.
good.
Yeah,
Another good song. But them,
yeah. She was in that Monsters prequel or whatever they call it that Rob Zombie
I know.
made.
Okay, I think one of the films that
Have you
Rob
seen
Zombie.
that?
I never really seen any of Zombie's films, but you know what? If you're talking about Halloween,
This one is no. This one is the Monsters, kind of
oh,
before they became the TV show.
I see
Pretty
there.
good actually, and Cassandra Peterson's in that.
Hmm, interesting there. You know, we got to
But it
give
is
Rob.
kind of interesting because it gives you kind of a prehistory of the Munsters.
Oh, wow. You know, we got to give Rob Zombie
Bad.
his due because not only did he put out some interesting music, like with his old band White Zombie,
Oh yeah,
his solo career as well, introducing us to John Five as his guitar player. Also, he put out some interesting movies. The his version of Halloween and the
yeah,
Halloween 2 there, the Devil's Rejects. House of a Thousand Corpses, which was definitely, if I understand, a homage to all those horror gore movies from the 70s there. This man, it really braces the
yeah.
cheesy horror movies as you know, he embraced it all, and he turned that embracement into some of his music as well.
Next one I got is ABBA. The winner takes it all.
That was their last big hit for as a group there. We would not see ABBA come out.
Yeah, and actually, I kind of liked them.
Mm.
They did some songs I really liked.
You know what? I was driving with my sister a couple of days ago, actually a couple of weeks back, when we went to the Brenda Town Center, and they played that song on the radio that she had on. That she said, "Dad used to love that song." Our dad. And I was like, I don't remember that. Believe it or not, there. But then again,
This song or something else?
oh, Dancing Queen. It was a Dancing Queen. Believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I liked the SOS and Waterloo.
Yeah, they played those. And by the way, they talk about mentioning the diverse, content on the radio, the satellite radio that we have at work. They play just about everything there, from ABBA, the Odds to Al Stewart there, you name it there. Some of the today's artists that are out there included.
Then you got all those years ago, George Harrison, which was kind of like his I Remember the Beatles song.
Yeah, his tribute to John Lennon there. Because I remember seeing
John, yeah.
yeah, because there was all the footages from the movies, the clips, and everything featuring him and John, just them.
Yep, yep. And you had Sheena Easton, we mentioned a while ago, For Your Eyes Only.
Yep, the James Bond movie, the same thing. In fact, here's something else. If you ever saw the movie, you notice that she is featured singing that song while images of Bond are played throughout the whole screen while she's all these water bubbles are coming up there throughout the whole song.
Right,
That was kind of a
right.
first.
Yeah. Then you had the Hall & Oates song, You Make My Dreams Come True.
Which I understand.
Do, do, do,
Yeah,
do.
they played that as well a couple times in the past at the speaker. In fact, I think, according to Foulmouth Ken, who I'd love to have on the call with us sometime soon, they had that used as a hockey theme for some. I forgot it was a Toronto Blue or Toronto Maple Leafs. I guess they used that. Which I forgot which
Mm.
NHL used that as their theme song. I forgot which it was already. There, I have to get Ken on the call and find out which one was it there.
Next one I got is the Night Owls Little River Band.
Yeah, that was featured. That featured a new singer, not really a new singer, but a new bass player who sang just as well as played bass there. That was a big hit.
Yeah. Then you had the Manhattan Transfer's cover of an old ad-lib song, The Boy from New York City.
I remember hearing that song there.
Old 60s song.
Yeah. What happened to that group? Because they had a few hits there, I remember. Let me look it up there.
Okay, next one.
Go ahead there.
Hello Again, Neil Diamond. Mm-hmm. And America, Neil Diamond.
From the Jazz Singer, the movie and the soundtrack album. Manhattan Transfer. All right. Go ahead.
Then you had Hungry Heart by Bruce Springsteen.
Great, interesting song. All right there.
Then you had Steve Winwood, While You See a Chance.
Big song for him. Ark of the Diver was the name of the band, the album that came on.
Eric Clapton, I Can't Stand It.
That was his last record for RSO for Records, believe it or not. There, RSO was a label that the Bee Gees, Andy Gibb recorded for. That was started by Robert Stigwood. RSO, by the way, meaning Robert Stigwood Organization. That's what the initials stand for.
Mm-hmm. Then Kenny Rogers' Lady.
Mm-hmm. It's written by Lionel Richie.
Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Steely Dan, Hey 19.
Yeah, but actually, I remember that song.
Which I know you're not that familiar with baseball, but Ranger games. Juan Gonzalez had the number 19, and when he'd come up, they'd play a snippet of that song. Hey, 19, you know.
I see there.
Kind of interesting thing.
And that's no surprise because they usually do that with other baseball players, with regarding a certain song or song lyric there. When you think about it, there.
Yeah, it was like when one of the relief pitchers would come in, they used to play Hell's Bells.
I see there.
For him.
Yep, by AC/DC.
I don't remember the relief pitcher. Yeah, but that was a other team. Trevor Hoffman from the Padres.
I see there. Interesting. Very
Here's
interesting.
another great song, and I think this one is a cover of Sammy Hagar's song. Rick Springfield, I've Done Everything for You.
Yep, yeah, Sammy Hagar
You've
wrote
done
that.
nothing for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, Sammy Hagar wrote that song. I remember Sam hearing on the MTV Saturday Night Concert of Sammy Hagar performing that song there, and I see it as a Sammy song, no matter what. When you listen to it, there, it is a Sammy Hagar song from start to finish.
Although Rick Springfield had a big version.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was a big hit as well.
Then you had Too Much Time on Your Hands, that you mentioned a while ago, by Styx.
Yeah, a guy is unemployed.
And here's one that you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Trying to Live My Life Without You, live.
Yeah, that came from a double release titled 9 Tonight that was released in around later part of 1980 there. That was Trying to Live My Life.
And then a pretty good...
Go ahead.
And then a pretty good song, is probably their biggest hit, Climax Blues Band, I Love You.
Interesting. That was a big hit on the radio there. I know that was their only hit. I'm not too sure about it. I'm not too familiar with any of the other material there.
Well, they had, what's the name of that song? It's a good hard bluesy number. What the heck was the name of it?
All right.
I'd have to look it up.
All right.
Then you mentioned Hold On Tight by ELO.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Leo Sayer, More Than I Can Say.
Mm-hmm. Big song for him there.
The Police.
Mm.
The Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me.
And we know the controversy about that song there. It's that song that was about a teacher-student relationship. Older teacher with a young girl. And yeah, but they had to keep that way on the down low, knowing the consequences for both in that relationship there. The guy could lose his job as a teacher, be blacklisted from the educational system, and she could be deemed as so-and-so, so-and-so. I don't want to mention the words there. You know,
Right.
basically, it was like one of those dangerous type of relationship type of deals there. Needless to say. Very
And
dangerous.
then I got a heart cover of an old Aaron Neville Brothers song, Tell It Like It Is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I had that
Great
album.
song.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And the video for it as well. That album that it came from, Greatest Hits Live, I had
Greatest
that.
hits.
Greatest Hits Live.
Yeah.
What?
And that was the only place you could find it at the time.
Absolutely there. That's
Wasn't
covered.
released any of their
Other
other
album. Well, yeah, I guess
albums.
it would be released on compilations years on down the line throughout the 90s.
Right.
Yeah, like the Best of Hard or the Complete
But
Hard
at the
there.
time, the only way you could find it was the greatest hits, which a lot of groups did that. They would leave one song for the greatest hits, so you'd have to buy it if
Absolutely.
you wanted it.
Libby Newton-John did
A
the
couple other
same.
groups did that.
Yeah, it does, including Libby Newton-John. She had a couple of new songs with her. She had a Greatest Hits Volume 2 because she had the previous one a couple of years before, and this second Greatest Hits had two new songs called Heart Attack and Tied Up and Promises.
Yep. Then you had de do 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 de da da da
The Police.
by the Police.
Yep. Great album from them. Zanata Madonna. I had trouble pronouncing that, Doctor, but I had that record.
Zenyatta Mandata, I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. I had that record.
Zenyatta Mandata.
Zanata Madonna. That was a damn good record there. Canary in the Coal Mine, the one we mentioned, Don't Stand So Close to Me, Dribble to Tears, When the World is Running Down, You're to Make the Best What's All Around, Shadows in the Rain. Good stuff there. Great album.
Yep. And then a great story song by Dan Fogelberg, Same Old Lang Syne.
I know what the story about that. It's a guy running into his old girlfriend, catching up on old times.
That's a good story.
It is a good story there. It's kind of like something out of a romance novel when you think about it. They're one of them Hallmark Channel storylines.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Then we had Pat Benatar, Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Which was, I remember seeing the World Wrestling Federation use that song with footages of their roster at the time, doing their moves and everything else there. That was how.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When it was called, this is before the golden era of them, where they later emerged, when they became cartoon characters. Oh, I started.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of threw me back to the old days before all that crap.
Absolutely, there.
But,
The roster.
We'll talk about some more time.
Yeah, we got to definitely. We got to talk about that on your Patreon, which, by the way, we got to plug. People listening left and right, go to Arknolia's Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Arknolia. You get tons and tons of interesting content from this dude here that I'm on the call with, ranging from movies, music, television, sports, pro wrestling, all the above and everything else. Definitely sign up for whichever tier you prefer. Definitely do so, everybody. Definitely do it for shizzle. Got to plug your Patreon as well. I haven't done it in a while there, so we should probably do it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, we got to do it at every show, by the way. Because help my boy Ark out, man. He needs it. He's a good guy. Help him out, okay, please.
Next one is John Lennon, Watching the Wheels.
Yeah, another one from Double Fantasy, his final record. Well, actually, believe it or not, there were tracks were recorded that was supposed to be a sequel, Milk and Honey. that record would not come out
Yeah.
until 1982, there, believe it or not, or 82 or 83. And that
Yeah.
record would feature songs like Nobody Told Me or Living on Borrowed Time.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's kind of prophetic.
exactly. That's what my mom said when she first heard that song and looked at the title.
Yeah. And then Foreigner, one of their good ballads, Waiting for a Girl Like You.
Yeah, from the Foreigner 4 album, one of the biggest records they ever had. Big records.
Jukebox Hero.
Mm-hmm. Nightlife.
Yeah. And was Tremontaine on that album? The instrumental?
Tremont. I know I'm not too sure, but I knew though that Thomas Dolby, and we know this guy pretty much also in the 80s new wave scene. He appeared
Right.
on the a couple of times on that album doing synthesized work on it, trying to make the synthesizer not sound like one there. He did some synth work on the
Right.
song Urgent, which became a big hit as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got the theme from Hill Street Blues by Mike Post.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of those kind of things.
He did, yeah,
And
absolutely.
he was also, people don't really know this probably, but the group from the 60s that did, I think it's so groovy now, that people are finally getting together, think it's so wonderful, that people reach out in the darkness.
Ah.
He was one of the two people, friend and lover.
Mm.
He was one of the two.
Ah, I see there. And of course, Post would later go on to compose for TV themes, like I guess what was it? I forgot it was. Other than the main, but the main one we know him best was, of course, Law and Order. The theme for
Yep.
Law and Order,
Yep.
which, by the way, I don't know if you ever went to my channel back in 2020. I did my version of that theme song there. And
Wow.
there's other theme songs that
Cool.
perform in that song. They're probably better than mine.
Yeah. It's definitely memorable.
I mean, let me see.
I
Absolutely.
think he did Rockford Files too.
I think so. Yeah. No surprise. Let me get up. You can put it up there. See, I'll
But
give
he
you
did a lot of those songs from the 80s and 90s.
absolutely the TV shows there. Okay. Law and Order. There you go.
Next one I got is
Before you do, let me.
Alison. Go ahead.
Here we go. Here you go. There you go.
And I'm guessing that he also did SVU and
Yeah. Oh,
the
there was.
other
Yeah.
Law and
It's
Order.
it's the same tune there. They just have different arrangements, different versions of that. They did one
Yeah.
for
Right.
the original SVU. You also did a different version for Organized Crime, which is still on the air right
Nice.
now with Christopher Melani. And they also did a different version for what's that one with Vincent D'Onofrio?
Criminal Intent.
Yes, thank you. That's
Criminal Intent.
Criminal Intent. Yeah, credit that
I
place.
love that one.
I like that because Vincent D'Onofrio was in it, and credit to Vincent D'Onofrio. Him and Michael Shannon are probably one of the best underrated character actors in the world out there, and they deserve a lot more appreciation.
Well, I liked it because he just played kind of a offshoot of Columbo
Absolutely,
in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he was similar.
Yeah, very
I
similar.
loved Columbo.
In fact, I know I was big. It reminded me of my dad used to watch that show a lot of times. In fact, here's something else. When you look at it, Criminal Intent was kind of like a modern day super sleuth, like a Sherlock Holmes, like Robert Gorin
Yeah.
was the Sherlock, and Ames, his partner there, the Detective Ames, she was kind of like the Dr. Watson in a way.
Yeah. But when we get to TV shows, I want to talk about some of the Sherlock Holmes things too.
Oh yeah,
especially the one with the British actor. I can't remember his name.
Man, I know there was
Jeremy Brett.
Yeah, there was a lot of Sherlock Holmes movies out there. We got to discover. Oh man,
the old Basil Rathbone.
Absolutely, definitely.
Those were good.
Absolutely, we got to definitely. All right, so
okay, let me finish up 81 real quick.
All right, good.
Next one I got is the Alan Parsons Project with a great song off of the Sword one.
Turned it for friend.
Not Sword. I don't. Yeah. Time.
Yeah, that's about. That was a big song. That was played everywhere on the radio.
And another one I got here is the breakup song. They don't write them like that anymore. The Greg Hinn Band.
Greg Hinn Band, yes. Whatever happened to that guy? Is he still around, by the way?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It was interesting. That year...
Then you had another one by...
Jeopardy.
Go ahead.
But around that time, radio was very interesting at that time there, about 81, 82 there, because Blue Oyster Cult was on the radio with Burning for You. Manfred Mann's Earth Band had their version of For You, the Bruce Springsteen tone there. A band you sent me a link to called Point Blank with the song Nicole. That was played on the radio back in Michigan.
That was a great song.
It is, yeah, exactly. I mean, new merge of bands were being played, and keep in mind that MTV had just came into the fold at that time, and they were also playing new stuff on new bands like the Young Invaders, Chilliwack, all these bands it's like a shame that the MTV now blows. It's not MTV no more. It's just
they
just
don't even play music.
Exactly. It got to go to either YouTube or something like that. People watch that. So I mean, the new Beavis and Butthead that came out. I think it's on Paramount Plus. I think it's called. They don't watch music videos. They watch TikTok videos.
God.
And half
Another one Bites the Dust by Queen.
Oh yeah, big hit song. In fact, from what I understand, that song, Sailing by Christopher Cross, and if I'm correct, Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 were all big hits on the R&B charts. Let me look it up again there. Let me look it up there.
Then you had Moody Blues.
Moody Blues
post after they did their classic 7, Gemini Dream.
Mm-hmm. The album Long Distance Voyager. The Voice was a big hit from that record there.
22,000 Days.
Okay. Pink Floyd hits
Olivia
the R&B chart.
Physical.
Well, that was a big hit for her as well there. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
That was probably one of her big hits there. I remember seeing her perform live with my dad at Pine Knob back in the following year, 1982, because she was on one of my first female charts there. Okay, there we go there. Now, I remember hearing Physical. I was intrigued by the hairstyle, the video, and everything. She had a TV special called Let's Get Physical, which featured videos from every track from that album, including one new one for Magic and a little more Love. And I was just mesmerized by her. She was a pretty gal, voice of an angel, and all that stuff. Of course, the other kids at school were like, "You're whacked, man," because they preferred Pat Benatar, Stevie Nicks.
Well, Olivia Newton-John was what I call a guilty pleasure, which someday we need to do a show on guilty pleasures and cover the stuff that we liked that apparently no one else liked. But they actually did. They just wouldn't admit it like we would.
Yeah, absolutely. They just didn't want to. They just didn't want to.
Right. And I got a lot of them.
Oh yeah, so I got a few myself.
I basically love them. I basically like music.
Yep.
That's what it boils down to. And then we had Super Freak, Rick James.
Yep. Which MC Hammer would borrow for his song "You Can't Touch This" years on down the line.
Then you had "Ain't Even Done with the Night" by John Cougar.
Which was
that time he was John Cougar, not John Mellencamp.
Yeah, absolutely there. Yeah.
I think he became John Mellencamp later. Then he became John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
I don't recall the order.
Well, actually, it was 83. He decided to become John Cougar Mellencamp because he originally wanted to use his real name as John Mellencamp, but the company convinced him to call himself John Cougar. They figured that name would sell a lot more records. Then afterwards, they decided to let him be John Cougar Mellencamp after making it big with American Fool in 81, 82 there. And then later on, back in the 1992, he decided to call himself simply John Mellencamp. And he's been John Mellencamp ever since that, plain and simple.
Okay, I'm actually at a breaking point. I was fixing to enter 1982, but we're right at our breaking point. I guess tomorrow night, what do we cover? Because we don't know what YR and Keith are.
I'm thinking basically, and by the way, we're talking about Movie Madness, the show that we used to do on Friday evenings back in 2020 when we were doing our weekly series. Each show each week there, each night of the weekday there.
Well, I guess we could do the Star Wars, but I mean, how are we going to do that? Because we can't do it in one night. Impossible.
Well, we could try our best. We could possibly do it on the following Thursday there. Because...
we want to start with number 4, 5, and 6.
Absolutely,
not
the original,
1, 2, and 3.
The originals, and then the prequels, and then the sequels there. Definitely got to do something.
Somewhere in that mix, we got to include a really bad Star Wars show.
Yeah. Well,
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, gosh.
If you've not seen that,
don't.
That is horrible.
I know. I remember seeing that, and it's like, I don't know who came up with the idea. The only thing that good came out of it was the Jefferson Starship doing Light the Sky on Fire. That was about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else in that movie. Let's put it this way. B. Arthur and Carrie Fisher sing. That's enough to go.
I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see it. I'm really reminded of that. I think the guys at the Lego did a Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, which included everybody from Vader, Palpatine, Kylo Ren. I guess this time was supposed to have been a comedy, kind of like the Lego Movie when you think about it there. I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Well, the first one was an unintentional comedy.
Yep.
The first one was an unintentional comedy.
Yep.
But anyway, we're done for the night, and we'll move on to. I guess we'll do Star Wars tomorrow night. Unless YR has a better idea.
I'm hoping possibly get Dave Rose on the show because you may remember back in 2020, me, Junebug, and then Dave Rose joining in on. We were all talking about Star Wars, everything else. I'm also get a hold of possibly some other people on the call here tomorrow evening to talk about.
Well, let's not get too many.
Absolutely, I'll get whoever I can there. Unless Dave is doing something tomorrow evening, then it'll probably just be us. But that'll conclude our show.
But he would be a good addition.
Absolutely, there. I will DM him right now on Skype to see if he is available tomorrow evening. All right, there. So, but in the meantime, me, Arknolia, we'll take our leave for now, and we'll be back tomorrow evening. Now, we're hoping to have YR and Keith tomorrow night on the show. I don't know what happened, if YR was busy or something like that, but hopefully those guys will be on the call with us tomorrow evening for our look at Star Wars. In the meantime, for Ark and myself, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow evening for Movie Madness, the return of Movie Madness, folks. And we'll see you then. Same time, same station. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.